So I just want to show you all, this is the front of our building. So when you drive up, this is our main building. We actually have like kind of an upper campus and a lower campus, but they're within viewing. You can see them right down over the hill. So this is our main building and kind of hosts, I guess, half now of our programs. I used to be almost all of our programs, but we're expanding so much. So yes, kind of like Miss Lewis said, this building started out as Rockbestus in the 70s. They actually created copper cable, like for our electrical poles, and that carried all the electrical lines and things. And that was created here. They shut down, and in the 80s, Thomasville Furniture moved in. And a lot of you probably know Thomasville Furniture. They're now up in Hickory. But they had this plant for quite a while, manufacturing their furniture products. It sat empty for a little bit, and Iredell Statesville Schools saw this as an opportunity to bring some of their major programs, their child nutrition, their maintenance, and their building here. But it also had a lot of empty space to create classrooms. And being centrally located in the county, this was a great place to put the Career Academy. And so we are here. So many of our programs started in 2010. We started with our auto tech, our culinary, and our fire department. And then we've grown since then. And we continue to add new programs just about every single year. We've got a new program coming in. So hopefully pretty soon we're going to take over this entire building and we won't have anybody else there. And this will be our own great school. All right, back to Miss Lewis, and I'll see you inside.
Okay, I'm kind of glad I get to sit in my office while she runs around all over the school and gets her exercise today. But she's going to go into the front of the school and hit our very first classroom that's right there on the right, which is our Culinary Department. And she's going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to go kind of basically tour you all around so you can see everything that we have here. And we have a combination of courses that are just high school courses, and then we also have courses that are taught through a partnership with Mitchell Community College through the Career and College Promise program. And so kind of pay attention. I'll jump back and forth because it depends on where they are in the building as to which one I'm talking about. So I will try to make sure that I identify the courses that are taught by Mitchell Community College. Not that it really makes a whole lot of difference, because we treat those students and the instructors just like they're part of our family. They really are. We're a big, happy family down here. And but there are some requirements that are you need to be aware of for the Mitchell classes. And, you know, for students that are on here, if you are, or if you're, you know, talking to students, you know, if you're planning, or you're an 8th grader going into 9th grade, you should be, and everyone's talking about registration right now. You may have a paper that's been sent home. You may have gotten a ConnectEd message. You may, you know, you're getting something different from, I don't know what your school, how they're disseminating that information, which is a little hard for us to kind of, you know, we pull everything together, so we have to deal with all the schools. But if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. I'll put my email in the chat, or, you know, your guidance counselor at your school, somebody, if you have a question, please reach out and ask. Tanya, are you ready? Okay.
I am. I was letting you go through your spiel. Okay. I was just sitting in here. I didn't want to interrupt you. All right, so this is our Culinary Kitchen. And we do have a classroom portion for their any kind of safety issues, or, you know, just the general book work that they need to do. But this is their lab. And I'm going to kind of get you across here. Let me loosen this up a little bit. And so that you can kind of see this a little bit more. So you can see this is larger than most restaurant kitchens, but it has all of the equipment that you would find in a professional restaurant. So the students come out of here knowing how to use every single piece of equipment that they would find as a line cook, starting out, or as a chef, or if they needed to start their own restaurant. So we start with the basics of safe kitchen safety, basic cooking, and then they can take the entrepreneurship and actually learn how to run their own restaurant. So if they have a passion for either just being a prep chef or a chef in an already established restaurant, or starting their own cafe or restaurant or bakery, this is a great place to get the start. So I do have my first trivia question of the day, and that is, in what year did butterball turkeys become the staple for Thanksgiving dinner? In what year did butterball turkeys become the staple for Thanksgiving dinner? If anybody has it, you can shout it out or you can put it in the chat. Anybody got a guess?
Well, I've got them muted, but they can unmute themselves or put it in the chat. Either one.
Yep. Nobody even wants to try, huh? All right, we don't want to sit here too. Oh, okay, pretty close. It was actually earlier than that, Denise. It was in 1954. 1954 that Butterball took over the Thanksgiving dinner. All right, awesome. Awesome kitchen. I'm going to the next spot.
Okay, so just to follow up on our culinary program, if you're a rising 9th grader or 10th grader and you haven't had foods yet, or you're going to take, you would sign up to take Foods 1 at your traditional high school. And the traditional high schools teach Foods 1 and they teach Foods 2. And we would love for you to take Foods 2 also. And then, but you don't have to. But we do want you to take Foods 1 at your traditional school. And then you come to us and you'll sign up to take Culinary Arts 1 and 2. We actually pair courses together here. As Ms. DePazio said, we're kind of at the lunch hour. We run 2 shifts here. We have an AM and a PM shift, so to speak, where we have students that come in for first and second block, and then students that come in for third and fourth block. Because we're centrally located in Troutman, we've got students coming from the far end of North Iredell all the way down in Mooresville. And so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for you to get here and only spend 90 minutes. So our courses do take up half of the day. So they take up 2 blocks in your schedule. You do earn 2 credits for them. And some of our courses are designed to be a 2-block class, and then others are single block classes that we've pushed together, we've paired together. So Culinary 1 and 2 go together, okay? And all right, she's there in the next area. I think that's what that means.
Yes, for
Is that
some
what that
reason,
means?
every time I hit start video, it doesn't want to connect for some reason.
All right.
So this is one of our 2 nursing labs. We actually have 2 of them in here because we do kind of limit the classes so that they do get that hands-on. I am loving that we have no students or faculty right now because everybody's at lunch. So this is great. I can actually talk to you guys. So in each of these labs, we have 5 hospital or long-term care facility type beds that the students actually practice all of their skills on. So you can see, let's see, I think there's a few more back in here. So they get that hands-on learning of actually working with patients. A lot of times they test on each other. And then we also have, I don't know if we can see grandma, she's kind of scary, that little thing that scares people when they walk in, laying in the bed that they're the dummies that they can work on as actual people to prepare them. So the great thing about this nursing program is, 1, you get all your clinical hours in. So the students actually spend 3 to 4 weeks out in the county. They're going to a hospice center, a long-term care facility, hospital. They kind of get to see a little bit of everything, and they work alongside other CNAs. They work as assistant CNAs essentially through that time. So you're not just getting the classroom book work and the hands-on skill work, you're getting the practical application as you go in and get those clinical hours that you need to get that CNA certification. Also, at the end of this course, you do sit for the CNA test. So if you pass that test, which we're at, I think pretty much we're at 100% passing rate for, I don't know how many years now, because we have amazing instructors. So you sit for that CNA test, you're going to pass that test. And as soon as you turn 18, or if you already are 18, you're now a certified CNA in the state of North Carolina. You can walk right out the door and go pretty much anywhere because everybody's looking for CNAs right now. So you start working right away. The other thing is, if you have a drive to move on to a nursing degree, to be a doctor, to be a physical therapist, anything like that, usually you have to start with your CNA. So you're getting a jump start already on your college because you won't have to take those courses. You won't have to take that certification. You can also work as a CNA and work yourself through the other education that you need to get those higher degrees. So this kind of puts you a step above. It's a lot cheaper because of what you need to buy. You just need to buy like your scrubs, your shoes, the things that you need to get into those clinical facilities, versus having to pay for the testing and everything else on top of it and your coursework when you go to a college. We're giving it to you almost for free. So it's a great head start. And we have so many, I think I just saw somewhere, it was a new note that I saw, Ms. Lewis, that since the nursing program opened in 2010, we've had 800 graduates, 800 CNAs that are out working in our community right now from this program right here, which is amazing. I think that is really, really awesome. So if you have any kind of medical interest, this is a great, great place for you. It's also awesome to come in here and then work in the industry. And maybe you say, not really sure this is for me, before you spend all that time in your college and your money training for something. You're going to get that hands-on experience and know right away before you get out of high school if this is your career path, or if not, if you need to find something else. All right.
Uh-huh. And, you know, along those same lines too, Ms. Tapazio, you know, if you decide that's not what you really want to do, but you may end up having to care for, you know, a grandparent at home,
Yes,
or a parent
absolutely.
at some point. And so, and having all of those skills, I know I'm kind of dealing with that myself right now, and I don't know all those tricks to move people, you know, and so there's good life skills.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're always going to need healthcare workers, right? And we're always going to need, that is not ever going to be taken over by a robot. We're always going to need people to help other people. So definitely a great career path that will keep you going for a long time and keep your family happy and everything. All right, moving on.
So, and talking about nursing, now nursing is our program that does have the most prerequisites, so courses that you have to take before you come to CATS. And at the traditional high schools, they teach all of these courses. 2 of them are specifically required, Health Science 1 and Health Science 2. And you normally don't pick those up until 10th grade. But there is a course called Health Science Fundamentals, or Fundamentals of Health Science. They actually changed the name this year. They like to change names in career and technical education. So if you're rising 9th grader, or you know a rising 9th grader and they want to be in healthcare, then they would register for nursing or Health Science Fundamentals in 9th grade, then Health Science 1 in 10th grade, and Health Science 2 in 11th grade. I see you, Ms. Tapazio. I'm going to finish this thought, but you can go ahead and turn on if you want. And there was a question in the chat about if I'm already in the 11th grade, is it too late to come to CATS? Absolutely not. We work with, we have lots of students that don't decide what they want to do, until later on. We just have to sometimes be creative in the scheduling at the home high school to get you here. We treat everybody on an individual basis as far as their circumstances go. So yes, it is not too late. You can double up and take Health Science 1 and Health Science 2 in the 11th grade, and then come here in the 12th grade for nursing fundamentals. Most of our nurses are 12th graders. All right, Ms. Tapazio, let's talk about manicuring.
All right, so this is one of maybe my second favorite place. We're going to come to my favorite next. But one of my second favorite places, because I get to get my nails done when I don't have students in here. So this is our manicuring lab. We've got several stations set up where the students can practice on models, as well as actually bringing in clients. Later in the semester, this lab does actually open up and bring public in. You can pay and have your nails done here. You can also get pedicures. We have the pedicure chairs over on the side as well. This is one of our Mitchell courses. So it is a combination. The instructor does come over from Mitchell. It does count for college credit as well. This is another one of the courses that you take, you sit and take the state board test at the end of this course. You pass that state board, and then you are licensed nail tech. You can walk into a salon, you can open your own salon, you can do it out of your house, I think. I don't know what the regulations on that, I probably shouldn't say that. But you are now a certified nail tech, which is anything hands and feet. So I love walking through this place and seeing some of the art that the students have done. Let me pull up some of these. I don't know how well they're going to read, but like the sparkles on the nail art that they do. I mean, it's just so crazy to me, like all this stuff that they do. And their toes. Look at that nail art. Isn't that cool? Those aren't stickers. They do that all in hand. So Miss Haynes is awesome. She's the instructor here. She's very, very rooted in Skills USA. If anybody's heard of that, that's a national competition. And her students tend to walk with those high medals constantly when they go to Skills USA. They're like winning so many awards. Let's see if we've got some of our awards here from Skills USA. So they actually get out and practice with that too. So really, really cool design. So if you are into making people feel good, you know, if you've ever gone to get your nails done or get a pedicure, I don't do it very often to myself. I probably should, self-care, right? But if you've ever gone, you kind of walk out feeling a little bit better about yourself because you're feeling polished and good. And you can do that for other people. You can make them feel good about themselves. So if you love working with the public, if you love working with art, you like that sparkles and looking good, great place. And I do not believe, Miss Lewis can tell you about that, there are no prerequisites for this class. So as a senior, you decide, I want to learn how to do nails. We're good. You can come right over.
Yep, she's right. She also mentioned it is a Mitchell course. So the requirements are you have to at least be in the 11th grade or 12th grade. Okay. So that we cannot take 10th or 9th graders in that particular program because it is through Career and College Promise. It is also to be accepted through that Career and College Promise, they'd like for you to have a 2.8 GPA. Now you're probably wondering, well, why do I have to have a certain grade point average to do nails? Well, it's not necessarily that, it's more the maturity level of a student taking college courses, because it is a college course. And so they're looking at your grades as a commitment to your education. And so now, if you don't have a 2.8 grade point average, and they're talking about your unweighted grade point average, I'm not going to get into all of that. We can accept students with a waiver process and, you know, with a principal recommendation, because we know some folks, you know, slip up along the way. But it is recommended that you have a 2.8. And as she said, there are no specific prerequisites. So you can, you know, but she mentioned art, you know, taking art in the 9th grade would be a good idea. She also talked about, you know, owning your own business, maybe your own salon. So business classes would be good. So those are things you could do in, you know, before you get to us. All right, now, Mr. Pazio, take it away.
Now we're at my favorite spot, because it's my home. This is my stuff. So I always start out in the hallway because this is one of the favorite things that Mr. Rogers, our principal, likes to show visitors when they come in. I teach filmmaking, television production, and animation. And in my filmmaking class, which tends to be my most popular class, at the end of the semester, the students produce a 15 to 20 minute short film in a group. And they also have to produce the movie poster that goes with it for marketing. So we like to kind of put some of the best ones out here on display. So when you're walking down the hall, you get to see all these really awesome movie posters that the students have created. And I think my favorite part of that is when Mr. Rogers is walking down the hall and I can hear out in the hall somebody say, "Oh yeah, I saw that movie." You didn't see that movie, but that's how good the poster looks, that you think you saw that movie. All right, so we're walking into my room here. And again, I think I always say I have the largest space because I have the biggest personality, so they can't fit me into a smaller classroom. So I think I might not have the largest space, but I feel like I do. This is the classroom portion of my lab. So the animation is done here with the Adobe computer, or the Mac computers with the Adobe Creative Cloud suite on them. All of our video editing is done here. All of our photo editing is done here as well. So they have this whole space. A lot of times we actually are kind of here in the dark. I keep the overhead lights off and we just kind of work with our Christmas lights. Makes me feel like I'm back in LA in an editing suite. And it does make those monitors pop a little bit more for students to kind of pay attention to really get the detail of what they're doing. But we do work with the Adobe Creative Suite. So they're using Premiere Pro, Photoshop, Lightroom, Illustrator, InDesign, After Effects, Animate. I think we use everything when we're in there. The students also have the opportunity. So if we're doing a television production broadcast, or if we're working on lighting, or if students need kind of a controlled environment to do their film in, we have a full studio in here. So you can kind of see in the back, we have a little bit of a green screen. I'm actually going to switch my camera around so I can do this easier for you. All right, so we do have a large area back here. Let's see if I can back up so you can kind of really get an idea of how big this space is. We do have a full wall. That green screen wall does go across the back the entire way. We also do have a full light grid up in the top. So this is really set up very much like a TV studio that you would walk into. Again, students can come in here because it's so dark when we turn off all the lights. They can really work on their photography and really learning lighting setups in here. And then they also, that's why we have some random desks and chairs around. We had this set up over here as an office area, I think for a cop, a CIA thing that they were doing. So they can create their own sets while they're in here too for shooting their films. And then we also have our last little spot here is our control room. And this has all of the equipment to control the cameras and the lighting setups that are in that studio. So they are separated just like they would be in a regular studio. We also have way off in the corner, you might be able to say, a little bit of a voiceover studio that we have kind of going there right now for doing commercials or documentaries or anything that they might need another voiceover for. So yes, with this class, it is filmmaking, studio production, broadcast journalism, or in the past, we've done a talk show that's fully student run, and television and film production, which includes a little bit of photography as well.
Awesome. Okay, so in order to take any of those classes, so she actually teaches 3 courses that, like I said earlier, take up half the day. So there's 3 semesters of courses available from this particular department. We do like for students to take Adobe, let me get it right, Adobe Visual and Adobe Video at the home high school. Those should be offered at all of the high schools. Ms. Tapazio actually teaches the sections for South and Lake Norman currently. So that's a real good way to get in good with the teachers to take classes that she teaches. But that is what we would recommend as a 9th and 10th grader to take at the traditional school. And like I said, if you're kind of coming in late, you can pick those up in the 11th grade. Also, those have certifications and opportunities to, put those credentials on a resume later. So they are great courses. She's actually heading back down the hall, coming kind of toward me a little bit. And next we're going to go into our fire and EMT department, and there she is. So
there I am. And I got freaked out, but I'm far enough away. Oh, she ran. There is a human on that truck. There is a young human on that truck. She's hiding. See, there she is. She's waving. You might not be able to see her. I was like, wait a minute. We don't have any students. It's lunchtime. But she's back there hanging out. She's one of our firefighting students, EMT students. She's been here for a while. So this is our fire station, basically, is what we call it, because, well, we house our fire truck here. And this was a truck that was donated to us by the Mooresville Fire Department. It is a working truck, so the students get to actually be hands-on with fire trucks from the beginning with their ladder work, hose work, anything like that. They are also outfitted. Let me do this and make it easier for you. They're also outfitted with their own gear. So they are fully prepared to go out and be a full-time firefighter with a department, or just help their community as a volunteer. And we have partnerships with the Mooresville Fire Department, Troutman Fire Department, Shepherd Hill. I don't know, we've got there's always trucks outside helping out and working with these students. Some of the things that I love in here that are super cool, this always looks just like a pile of wood, but it really has some great meaning to it. So you can see this one here is full of wires, where the students actually are in full turnout gear and try and climb through the wires. So kind of gives them that simulation of trying to get through a house and hazards there. This one's new. So this is a balance one that's going to kind of throw them off balance as they walk through. You can see that pipe that's down at the bottom, so that rolls through. This tall one over here teaches them to practice getting in and out of small spots, windows, vents that have been cut through the house with their turnout gear on. So they are fully prepared when they go out and join their departments. And this also, and it looks like they've moved stuff out of here, is our EMT room. So paramedics and EMTs often work together with the fire departments. So we have them kind of housed here in the same spot. And we see a lot of the kids taking both of those courses because they go hand in hand. If you see a car accident, you usually see the fire truck with the ambulance showing up to the car accident, right? So they kind of all work together. I'm going to see if I can go out because we lose Wi-Fi, so I can't really show you too close, but let me switch my camera off. Back in the distance there, if you can see, we have a 3-story building that is shipping containers, and that is our smoke building. So students can't actually work with fire until they're 18. That's a state law. So we can't work with fire here. So what we do is they actually smoke out that building. It has furniture inside of it, and it has dummies inside of it. So they get the practice of going through a smoke-filled room that's dark, around furniture, being able to pull out bodies essentially to save people. They work with that ladder work and getting people and those dummies out of buildings through those ladders. So completely hands-on. And I can tell you, when I talk to Chief here, if I ever have a fire or anything, I'd kind of want a CATS person there to help me because I know the kind of training that they go through. So I feel pretty comfortable if they're in one of our departments nearby. All right, I'm going to head down to our lower campus, and I will see you shortly.
All right, so just to piggyback on all that information about our fire department, it is our fire program. It is a 2-semester program. So students take Fire 1 and 2 paired together, and then the second semester they take Fire 3, which is just an inherently longer class. During Fire 3 is when they do their ride-alongs. We send them out into the community. Even though Ms. Tapazio mentioned we have lots of fire departments that come here and help us to do training, we also send the students out and to actually get that hands-on real-life experience. Now, in order to participate in our fire program, it's not an official prerequisite because we will allow students to come into our program without having had this course, but Intro to Public Safety is available at all of the high schools. And that is what we would recommend a student interested in public safety, whether it be fire or EMT or police, all of those would fall under that umbrella. So take that in 9th and 10th grade. So then you could come here in 11th or 12th for those programs. EMT, and as Ms. Tapazio said, a lot of our firefighter students take both EMT and firefighter. They'll do firefighter the 11th grade and then EMT senior year. EMT is our only program that absolutely you have to be in the 12th grade. It is through Mitchell Community College, so they set the parameter on that and those requirements. It technically doesn't have a prerequisite necessarily. You could just up and decide your senior year that you want to do EMT, but you have to be a senior. And that is all related to the certification exam being 18. You have to complete the course within a year of taking the exam. So there's a lot of requirements when it comes to that certification. And so that's why they say you have to be a senior. Another thing, EMT is one of those. Remember, what was that grade point average I mentioned earlier? 2.8 unweighted, 2.8 unweighted. And I said that in manicuring, you could get a waiver. All right. Well, in EMT, you cannot. You have to have at least a 2.8 GPA, and you have to demonstrate a reading level a little bit higher than maybe what you would necessarily need for everything else, because we certainly want our emergency medical technicians to be able to understand their manuals and know what they're doing. And so they do have a reading requirement, but we don't want to let that deter you. We've had lots of students that maybe weren't the best English students along the way that did EMT and were successful. We were able to make it work out. So I don't want to push anybody away, but I do want to put that information out there ahead of time. All right, she's back ready for us. Where are you now?
So I have moved down to the lower campus, and I'm in the first building of the lower campus, and we've got our welding department in here. This is actually starting to expand a little bit. Might be able to see behind me, we're starting to get some new bays for our welding to get set up. But this is another one of our Mitchell courses. So it is a college-based course. The students here learn TIG, MIG, and stick welding mostly, among some other things. But they have exactly what you would see, nice little setup labs here, individualized. It was really cool yesterday because we came down while you couldn't hear me at all, but they were actually doing their, sorry, going wonky. doing their welding yesterday. So the sparks were flying and it looked really, really cool. So yeah, they just practice everything. Again, this isn't one of those trades that you can walk right out and get a job as a welder, start working as an apprentice somewhere, maybe start your own company. But this is going to get you those skills that you need to walk right out. And interesting, where's my little interesting fact here? Because I want to get my percentage right. So 50%, I thought it was a little bit more. 50% of everything we touch, 50% of all manufactured products have some sort of weld in them. So that's a lot. I mean, we've got welds everywhere, from buildings to just little to artwork to all sorts of little things that we do. Boats, underwater welding is huge. If you can get specialized in that, that's like huge money. That's takes a lot of specialty stuff there. But welding is a great trade for a lot of people, especially artistic people. So one little interesting fact I found out is there is one spot where if you join two pieces of metal together, they will automatically weld. And this only happens in one area. If you put two different types of metals together, they will automatically weld. Does anybody know where that might be? I know this is a hard one. It's in space. So in space, there's no oxygen. And that's usually what keeps those metals from welding. So in space, because the metals can't form their usual layer of oxidation, two different types of metal that touch each other will instantly weld themselves together. So I guess our astronauts don't need to know how to be welders. They can just touch it together and it'll automatically go. But I thought that was a little interesting fact. All right, Miss Lewis, you want me to just keep on walking?
Yeah, keep on walking. Okay. I'm going to talk, or can I say something real quick though?
Sure.
Because welding is another Mitchell course. So you have to be in the 11th or 12th grade. But like manicuring, we can get a waiver on the GPA. Oh.
Yeah, they jam out in here.
And there are no prerequisite courses, but I know Miss Hayes would appreciate me putting in a plug for her drafting class at Statesville High School. But drafting would be a great, jump in a course to take in 9th or 10th grade at the home high school for welding down the road. All right.
Okay, so we are moving a little bit further. This is the same shop actually, but this is the diesel and heavy equipment portion of our shop. So diesel, we don't really think much about diesel engines, right? Because especially with auto, whatever, if you're not really into cars and things, but 94% of our goods get to us using some sort of diesel power, whether that's a truck or a locomotive or a ship, they're using diesel engines. We also see them in farm equipment. We see them in cars. I'm gonna go find out who that is. Mr. Troutman. Mr. Troutman, you are live. I can't find you on this thing. He's still not listening to me.
Oh God, you're gonna make us sick.
This is what we get. I told you we were live.
Sorry. I'm trying to get, when I start wheels, I get my wheels up. Okay. Sorry.
So we don't have students working, but we do have teachers working through their lunch break.
Yeah, sometimes that's what we have to do.
Yep. So we are in here and I'm actually going to take you around. Oh, look, there's some really cool engines back here to Mr. Troutman's favorite engine that he showed me the other day when we were walking through here.
All right, let's get through
Okay.
this
Can we cut through this area?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. This is like a puzzle back in here.
Yeah.
He doesn't remember I have a tripod with me. I'm a little wider than usual. All right. So tell us about this engine real quick. We got about 1 minute.
This engine right here was donated to us by Freightliner. This is these are the emission compliant Detroits that are coming out now. This is about as complex of an engine as you can even find nowadays. They have EGR valves, they have DPFs, they have you name it, it's got it on there. And so it's getting to be a highly complex world. So But this right here is what it is. It is a trainer to be able to train students on how to use scan tools, how to use computers, and how to diagnose and find out what's going on with our late model engines.
Perfect. So yeah, I mean, we've got, like we said, almost everything that we use today, from food to goods. How much ship do you do on Amazon, right? That's got to come from somewhere, and usually it's overseas. So all of this is using those diesel engines. We've got Freightliner in the area that's hiring people. We have Caterpillar that's in the area that's hiring people. So what's that? James Rivers, that's in the area that's hiring people. So we can stay in the community and work, but this is super important. These aren't going away. And being able to train them on the newer engines that are hitting those emissions things that the government's coming out with is going to be super important. All right, I'm going to go to the main shop, Miss Lewis.
Okay. Are you gonna hit masonry on the way?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, well, you messed me up yesterday. All right, she's gonna go to masonry. But as she's walking back down the hallway, we do have our own race car that we've made. Here at Cats, we race it sometimes. I don't know, they may have moved it, but that's what that trailer was she was standing next to. But our automotive program is our diesel, collision, and standard automotive is our biggest program, our most robust program. We have 5 instructors. She's probably going to talk a little bit about that. And you know, students can specialize when they get here. We do have some students that just say right out the gate, I want to work on diesel engines. And so we can plug them right there with Mr. Troutman. But we do have some that want to learn it all. And that's sort of how the course and the program is designed, to get an idea about all of it. Brakes are kind of brakes. The electrical systems, at the root of it is the same. And, hydraulics and transmissions and things like that. So they're taught all of the basics. And then if they want to, they can specialize into diesel. And if they want to, work on the outside of the car and fix the collision part, they can. So, and when she gets into the bigger shop in a minute, we'll be able to talk a little bit more about that. That may be a little more clear. But there is a course that you would sign up for in the 9th and/or 10th grade called Intro to Transportation Technology. That is the course that is the gateway to come to our automotive program, whether you're choosing diesel or collision or automotive. Intro to Transportation Technology. And we send our instructor to every school to teach that. All right. Okay, Mr. Pazio.
All right. So right next door to that diesel heavy engine and welding shop is our Masonry Lab. Again, all of these shops also have a classroom component, so that if they need to do that book work and get those fundamentals in, they do have that area. So we aren't always in the lab, but I would say probably 75 to 80% of the time you're in the lab. You're not sitting in the classroom. So with our masonry, we do have a little bit of a smaller space here. And this is just more of that learning area where they kind of learn how to lay the bricks, working on their rows, getting things straight, getting that foundation down. And then these guys actually do work quite a bit in the community. So if you walk up to our main building, we actually have 2 masonry walls that go up to the main building. And those were done by our masonry students. We also have 2 columns outside of the entrance to the auto tech building that were done by our masonry students. There is an old school bell that is hanging outside of our Unity Center in Statesville, and they did the entire brick housing for that school bell. So they do get to go out into the community a little bit more, I think, than a lot of these programs, and actually and build amongst the schools, amongst the community, whatever it might be, to get that hands-on. So some of you might know this question: what is the material used to stick 2 bricks or stones together? What is that material used? Yes, Miss Denise, it is mortar. That is correct. Now, what is the term for putting the mortar onto those bricks? Does anyone know what the term is for putting the mortar onto the brick? Here's a hint. You do it at the dinner table.
On your bread.
It's called buttering. So just like you're buttering your bread, you butter the mortar onto those bricks and stones before you lay them down. So working in the masonry, for me, I would say this is great for any student who really likes to be outside working with their hands, but also those who like to actually build something that could last a lifetime. So look at all those buildings that have been around from the 1700s, 1800s, early 1900s. They're brick buildings. They're brick and stone buildings. You know, the ones from way back, they built with stone, and they're still standing. So those good foundations, every building, even if it's a metal building, is going to have a concrete and brick foundation to it. So you're building stuff to last a lifetime. So if you like working outside, you like to be able to see your work for many, many years to come, then masonry might be the job for you.
All right. And our masonry program is 2 semesters. We pair masonry 1 and 2 together in the fall, essentially, and then masonry 3 is a 2-block class in the spring. That's actually a little bit of a change from what we've done in the past. So you all that have been, you know, kind of guiding students for the last few years, this is a little bit different. We're going to start teaching the introductory class, which is called Core and Sustainable Construction. We're going to start teaching that next year in all the home high schools. So on your registration guide, your registration form, you should see Core and Sustainable Construction at the traditional school being offered. And that's also going to lead us into a brand new program that we're adding. We're not exactly sure where we're going to put the lab for it, but we're going to be teaching carpentry as well. So our masonry teacher is going to teach masonry 1 semester and then carpentry and masonry the second. Like he'll do maybe the morning carpentry and masonry in the afternoon or something like that. So we're going to be teaching carpentry 1 and 2. Obviously those go hand in hand. Oh, someone's joining us late. Let's see, I'll let them in. And we're calling that under the umbrella of construction trades. So masonry and carpentry 1 and 2 will be together. All right, Ms. Tapazio, now she's in the big shop.
I am in the big shop, and this is probably my 3rd favorite. I don't know, I really like all the labs here, so I don't know if I can make favorites on here. And we have teachers working on stuff again, being loud. Yep, they're over there, the air pressure thingy, whatever it is. All I know is they do my inspections, they do my oil changes, tires, brakes. They've done everything. My car's a mess. They keep it running for me somehow. Even body shop, they've done everything. But I love this lab. This lab is clean. This lab is huge. So let me turn it around. And one of the great things also about this lab is that, and it's closed today because we don't have students right now, but they have their own parts shop right in the lab. So the students are not only learning how to work on cars, they're also learning how to work the retail side of it as well, or that parts counter that might be in the dealership. So we have a lot of partnerships with O'Reilly, AutoZone, Advanced Auto that help keep that parts counter open and going. So students, I'll try and slowly go around here so we don't get too dizzy or anything to see how big this shop is. Students will actually get cars in. It might be their own car. It might be a faculty car. It might be a donated car. They come right up to the computer. They do work orders just like they would in a regular shop. And when they diagnose the car and figure out what parts they need, they can come right over to the parts shop and get what they need to actually work on that car. But let's see if I can do kind of a slow move around here to see how big and expansive this shop is. This is larger than any shop you would see at a dealership or on Main Street in your town, right? This is huge. You have professional lifts. So we don't have the kids on little creepers crawling underneath the vehicles or anything. They're lifted up so they can actually work on it professionally, just like they would if they were out in the industry. And look at the shine on that floor. These guys are great, right? This floor is awesome and clean. So yes, this is normally full of students. We have 5 teachers that kind of rotate between this building, the diesel. Mr. Troutman usually handles diesel. We have Mr. Bowman, who's usually over in the collision, which is next door in this building. But they kind of all help the students with those fundamentals before they go on to whatever specialty they decide to go on to. So one little note here, Miss Lewis talked about our drag car that they built. There it is. So this is our drag car, and it has been out to the Mooresville drag strip and has raced. And this car was built entirely by students. We also have a really great partnership with Ford. and a lot of the dealerships in our area. And Ford has given us a few cars to really start working on those electrical systems, because that's going to be a huge thing. You know, if you ever take it, and it's now these cars are all run by computer. So the way that we work on cars has changed quite a bit. Here's kind of a little bit of our wall of fame. Although I don't think these have been changed out in a while. I think they need a lot more space to put more trophies. But they do a lot of competitions with Ford. They've been named School of the Year by Quaker State. That was in 2014 in O'Reilly. And that was against community colleges. Like, these were nationwide schools. And this school won as the best program nationwide for students to be trained in. And I love when I go out, I did have my oil changed one time at a Valvoline in Mooresville, and the technician that was working on my car came up and said, "You look familiar. Did you work at Katz?" And I said, "Yeah, actually I do." He said, "Oh yeah, I was an auto tech there." So it's really cool. You can go into pretty much any dealership, any repair place, and look around and ask around, and there's probably a Katz grad that's working right there in our community, giving back. So that's pretty awesome. All right, I'm gonna take my camera off as I walk over to collision, so we're not walking through doors.
Okay. And as I said before, Intro to Transportation Technology is the prerequisite course for any of our automotive stuff. But it's our biggest program, so you can come here for 4 semesters. Now, you don't have to come for 4 semesters, but you can. And so what our students that are really interested in this, they usually take that intro class in 9th or 10th grade. And then in the 11th grade, they start coming to CATS, and they're here half the day, all of 11th grade and all of 12th grade. And I'll share the sequence with you and with the counselors of the school, so you'll know what you need to sign up for.
Okay, so like I said, this is actually in the same shop. It's just a different room in the shop, and I just didn't want to be slamming the camera against doors. But this is our auto body and our collision. So you can see they've got a couple bumpers and fenders set up. I kind of hope they fit my car because I need a new bumper on mine. But it'll probably be in here pretty soon too. So they do a lot of paint work, repair work, and stuff in here. One of the greatest things that I like of this lab is the really big paint bay that they have here, that they've gotten in. And they can actually fit a small sedan or compact car, full car, into this paint bay if they need to do a full paint job on that car. They have a great partnership with PPG that has given them a bunch of paint, so they can match pretty much any paint from any manufactured car that they need to. And if they can't get the formula to work perfectly, they'll just order what they need for those cars. Let's see, I don't think the light is on in here, but oh, they still have the fun stuff, Miss Lewis. See, we don't just do
the one's
cars.
missing. Where in the world is the
I don't know. We had 3 bowling
There were
pins
3
yesterday. Now we have 2. So you never know what you're going to find here and what they're going to be working on. See, we like to make sure that they're well-rounded and they can work on anything. So we've got, this is a cool one here. It's got a couple of other things on top of it, but here they were working on some pinstriping and some spray gun work. So that's pretty awesome. Oh, look, there it is. They're cleaning it up, Miss Lewis. There it is. I bet they're going to try and look, they got all the stuff out. I bet they're going to make that one look pretty cool too with some artwork on it. But yes, other than that, they're working on fenders. A lot of these cars are donated because, I mean, let's be honest, if anybody's ever had body shop work on your car, you know it takes a while, even for professionals to do it. So these are usually here a little bit longer for us. They've got a van over here that looks like, I don't know, might have been sideswiped or something. We've got some Bondo. We're missing a light. We need a door to be replaced. So we've got some work to do on that one there. They also have a second paint bay. This one's just a little bit smaller. So if it's just a door panel or a bumper, they can go ahead and get those in as well. These actually look a little bit shinier than they did yesterday. So I'm thinking maybe they went through the paint process recently. So here, dings, scratches, dents, new doors. They have done old car restoration in here. I think it just kind of depends on what they get from the community and what gets donated to them and what their jobs are to work on. But again, all hands on.
Yep. And one thing I didn't get to, you're not seeing any students today, but I'm wearing my ATC shirt today. And so most of our students wear a uniform of some sort, not all of them, but that's one of the things that, you know, we pride ourselves here is when you come and see our students in action, they look professional, they're dressed professional, they're wearing scrubs if they're in the nursing program, they're wearing scrubs if they're in manicuring, they're wearing their t-shirts tucked in, pants pulled up. Our fire students have uniforms. So that's just kind of part of the professionalism piece that you get when you come to our school. And Ms. DePazio is going to our final program of the day. And there she is. Okay.
This is our final program. It's also our newest program.
Yeah.
Yes,
No,
it is.
it is.
It's our newest program that we've added at CATS. This has only been here a year, I believe, full time.
Mhm.
So we have both. We have two programs in here: electronics and metal manufacturing are in here. So the electronics, they've got all sorts of fun stuff to work on, hands-on, and I'll show you a little close-up on that in a second. And then we have a couple of manufacturing machines here. So these are kind of those CNC machines, creating routing metal, basically, creating molds, tool pieces, things like that. But these are the type of machines that they're going to find if they work in any of those manufacturing facilities that we have throughout the county. And it's not just going and picking pieces off a conveyor belt like it used to be. Now they really have to be able to know how to pretty much use these computers to get these pieces done properly. So that's what we're training them with here, how to program and work these routing machines so that they can go out into manufacturing and get a job, again, right out of high school. So here are some of those electrical systems that they're working on. He does not actually have we don't have an electrics class this semester. We have a metals class this semester. So a lot of these are just kind of put away right now. But there was, let's see, where's one of my favorites? Oh, right here. I don't know how they work on that. You got to be like surgeon skilled to get in there and weld and fix all those little pieces on that circuit board. And that's a big one. I've seen them even smaller than this. I don't know how they do it. So definitely, you know, electronics is huge. That's the basis of 90% of what we do, pretty much. So being able to work on those circuit boards that are in everything from computers to cars to your phones to your tablets, all of that kind of stuff. Again, another great industry skill that we're getting students ready for right here at CATS. All right, so that's it for our labs. I'm going to throw it back to Miss Lewis and head back to the main building.
Okay, so as we kind of close out, I would like to wrap up, but let me actually follow up on the electronics and metals manufacturing. As she noted, right now we're teaching electronics 1 and 2 in the fall, so it's a 1 semester program, and then metals manufacturing 1 and 2 in the spring. And a lot of those students are the same. A lot of them are different, you know, they're different. So it's not, you don't have to do both. It does lend itself well to, you know, future engineers. So that's kind of the type of thinking that our students that we're working with. So again, you're drafting engineering at a home high school would be a recommended course. There's also a technology and engineering design course that's being taught at some of the high schools. So that would be a good one to take in 9th or 10th grade at the traditional school, or 11th grade if you're kind of changing your mind late. One thing I wanted to share with you all, let's see, I'm going to make sure I've got it even pulled up here, is I'm going to share my screen with you. And just kind of show you a graphic that I use when I'm working with students that sort of has everything kind of all in one. It's an all-in-one sheet. And the gray side is the 9th through 10th, 11th grade, the traditional side. So this side is what you would take at a traditional school. I'm not going to go over this whole thing with you right now, but I do share it. It's on our website. I share it with our traditional counselors and teachers, and I've just updated it. But the yellow is CATS. So when I mentioned, you know, it's a 4-semester program or a 2-semester program, or maybe I forgot to mention it. Like, I don't think I said manicuring is a 2-semester program. Nursing is only 1 semester. But then you can kind of tell, you know, by looking at this. One thing I'd like to note, we did not talk about criminal justice today. That's another Mitchell program that we're going to have down here, but it's not as hands-on necessarily as what you have seen. And then I also want to draw your attention to the fact that we are going to be adding drone technology next year in not next year, 2022, 23 is when we're hoping to have drone technology, teaching students to be able to fly the drones that are, delivering things and serving things. And that will also be a Mitchell program. So this is, kind of helps capture, I hope, what all you need and to be able to come to CATS. So if you have any questions, if you want to put anything in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself and ask me questions, I'll be glad to answer anything that you have today. We'll do, a frequently asked questions after we get done doing all of our live tours. Right now we have 6 scheduled. This is our second one. We do appreciate you all joining us today. And, please share it out if you've got, friends, students that maybe aren't sure what they want to do. And you don't have to come to CATS just because you want to be a firefighter for the rest of your life or a chef for the rest of your life. We teach life skills here that are very handy. I would love to be able to change my own oil and not have to go to, well, thankfully I work here so I can have the students do it for me. But if I didn't work here and when I retire from here, I'm going to have to go to, the Valvoline place and pay to have it done. So, we teach life skills, professional skills, and then, skills that actually are going to earn you a good wage or get you a leg up on that university degree down the road. Oh, thank you, Linda. Miss Marshall, who's on here with us today, used to teach with us. She was our culinary teacher and she went on to bigger and better things. Thank you, Linda. And I'll just let you all oh wait, Ms. Tapazio, do you have anything you'd like to add since you're back in your fuzzy chair?
My fuzzy chair, my happy place. No, the only thing I really like to add to this is from the instructor perspective is what you get or what I see from the students here at CATS. And it's such a different atmosphere than the regular school that this isn't usually the CATS classes. These aren't the classes where guidance is going to say, that's a really cool class. I think you should try it and kind of throw kids into it. This is a place, because they're leaving their traditional school, you're going to be grouped with students who have the same goals, have a lot of the same hobbies, have a lot of the same interests as you. So it's not that I don't want to say that we're not getting that, the different perspectives and things like that in there, but you're not so far off the board, like the firefighting kids are in there because they want to learn firefighting. They're interested, whether they're volunteer, their family were volunteers, and this has all kind of been passed down by generations, or this is what they want to do for a career. But they still have that interest together. So you're not really going to find students that say, I don't want to climb in a building. I don't want to go in a fire in your firefighting class, right? And that's what you get a lot of times at the traditional high schools in your electives. So I've seen students, my favorite is last year I had 10 students from 6 different high schools. None of them knew each other before they walked in. By week 2, they all had their phone numbers and were on a group text and a group chat together and were becoming best friends. By the end of the semester, they threw themselves a Christmas party and cried and hugged each other because they were leaving and going back to their other schools. And they weren't going to actually be able to see them every single day again. So that's the kind of friendship that these kids create once they get in and find, oh, wow, there's kids like me. There's kids that want to do the same thing I do. So they kind of feed off each other and really help promote each other. And we kind of can just sit back as facilitators and just watch the magic happen.
Yep. I was firing off some questions.
Yes.
So I tuned out for a second.
Yes, but that's about it.
Those are great questions, about prerequisites and anyway, I see you got your snazzy CATS vest on today.
Yes, I do.
We do try to brand ourselves pretty well. At the beginning, you saw that nice crest out front, and Miss Tapazio and her digital media expertise, designed all of that. So we're very proud of how we're starting to look out there. So.
Yes, we are creating a brand. So if you have not gone and liked our Facebook page, our Instagram feed, please go do so. What's the YouTube? Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Right? We need to put those little like things like the YouTubers do down at the bottom and be like, all right, before we continue, like and subscribe. You need to come on. You need to be like that for more of the students, I think. Maybe they'd get it better.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Well,
We only went 5 minutes over today.
That's right. We're getting better. We're trying to keep it under an hour. So
right.
You all have a great day. Enjoy the sunshine. Well, anyway, it's.
Duncan, yes, we towards once all of the tours are done, we're going to post all of these recordings for people to go back and watch them. The goal is we obviously want to get as many people on live as possible, so we don't want to post them too early until we're done with all of the live tours. But they will be available, and we should have everybody's email address that we can shoot a blast out and say, hey, if you missed something or want to review, the recordings can be found at this link.
Yeah. Yes, because I remember to record today.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Well, like our last tour scheduled right now is March 3rd.
Yes.
Right.
So only a couple more weeks and we'll be done. So yeah, get it all done. I know Lake Norman's trying to do their registration before spring break. So we want to get it out there.
Yeah. All right. Oh, thank you for showing us who you are.
Yes.
That's good. All right. Good. All right. Awesome. Okay.
All right. Thanks. Have a great week.
Thank you.